This podcast is sponsored by Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it is the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. Free free. There's also creation tools that allows you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will then distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more platforms. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. I actually use Anchor for this podcast, and it has saved me a lot of time and energy because everything is consolidated in one place. It just makes it so much easier. So if you're interested in doing the same thing, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Once again, you can download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Okay, so I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about Goli gummies. Now, we all know that apple cider vinegar is the new health kick right now, okay? So you're supposed to take a shot or two in the morning. Some people take it 3 times a day, and you're supposed to get a lot of health benefits, such as losing weight, appetite control, etc. If you guys have ever taken apple cider vinegar shots, it is a very strong taste, okay? It's a very strong taste. It burns your throat when it goes down, just the whole nine. I used to take apple cider vinegar shots as well, and I just got sick of the taste. So I tried to find an alternative to it where I wouldn't lose the benefits, but the taste would be a little bit better. That's when I found out about Goli gummies. Now, Goli gummies, they are little gummies that has apple cider vinegar in it, and you get all of the same benefits of an apple cider vinegar shot. So the appetite control, the weight loss, etc. It's really tasty, so you don't have that burning sensation that's going down your throat every time you consume it. It's amazing. It comes in nice little packaging. They also have, you can also get an individual bottle if you want to try it, or you could do the 1 month supply, 3 month supply, or even a 5-month supply of these gummies. I take them every day and I love them. I try not to eat them as candy because they're just that good. If you want to take advantage of these gummies, I do have a special promo code for my listeners. You can go to go.goli.com/cfuller to get an additional 5% off your purchase. And there is nothing wrong with additional savings. I will take whatever I can get. So if you want to take advantage of these gummies, go to go.goli.com/cfuller to get additional savings. Hey y'all, my name is Christian. I'm a millennial, and this is the Millennial Mind. Millennials get a bad rep for being lazy, non-productive members of society. They are also told that their opinions are warped and that they don't matter. This podcast is designed to express an opinion, but from a millennial's perspective. We will talk about everything from love and relationships to pop culture to pretty much everything that comes to mind. Come join me on this journey of speaking my mind, and I hope that all of you are speaking your mind as well. Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of The Millennial Mind. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey of speaking my mind, and I hope that all of you are speaking your minds as well. So, let's get into today's episode. But before we get into it, I have a couple of church announcements. One, If you have not read my blog, What Makes You So Special? What are you waiting for? Go read my blog, www.christianfuller.com/blog. And I have about 4 or 5 blog posts that are available to read at your discretion and for your convenience. So make sure that you read. Also, if you are not watching and or listening to Live and in Color with Renee B. Renee every Monday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on Instagram, what are you doing with your life? If you like girl chat, this is the show to listen and or watch. It's basically a girl chat between two friends because we are friends and we talk about everything from pop culture to what's going on in the world to life to relationships, etc. So make sure you tune in every Monday night, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on Instagram. We did do Facebook maybe a couple weeks ago. So once we get a schedule for that, I'll let you guys know when we'll be on Facebook. But for now, we will be on Instagram every Monday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, and that's going to be on RBR Blogs page. So make sure you follow her so you can get the notification when we go live. Okay. Now let's get into today's episode. So if you guys have not read my blog, my latest blog post, then this episode will be news for you. If you did read my blog post and you're getting this twice. But as you can tell from the title, I did it. I got the COVID-19 vaccine, and this episode is going to be dedicated to my experience with it, what side effects I have, etc. So let's start here. First of all, when they came out with the COVID-19 vaccine, when it first came out on the market, they had the Pfizer, of course, Moderna, and I think Johnson & Johnson was more of the later, or was the later one that came out. I wasn't going to take it. I was like, I am really leery about them creating a vaccine this quickly. And we have so many other diseases that need help as well, cancer, diabetes, etc. We don't have a vaccine for that, but we have a vaccine for COVID-19, but that's a different story. I didn't want to take it because of that. I didn't want to take it because I didn't know what they were putting in the vaccine, especially as a Black woman and thinking back on what happened to the Tuskegee Airmen. If you haven't heard of what happened with the Tuskegee Airmen, basically they were experiments. They were experimented on with different things medically, and they died. That's basically what happened. You could look up more information on it, but that's basically the brief version of what happened to them. And I was like, I don't want to be a part of that again, be another a take two of history again. I wasn't going to do that. And a lot of Black people were like that as well. But something kind of changed in my mind. There was a couple of things that made me change my mind. The first being that they said that this vaccine would help with symptoms. So just in case you get COVID-19 again, the odds of you passing away from it or having really severe symptoms will be very slim. Now, I've had COVID before. If you haven't seen or listened to the previous episode of this season about my experience from COVID, you may want to pause this and listen to it, or even after this episode, you can listen to it. But it was no joke. Even though my symptoms were pretty mild, but still there were periods where I could not breathe, and it was a bit much. So and I knew that even though I had COVID, there's the possibility of me getting COVID again. And I'm not sure how, and me not being sure how that strain of COVID was going to affect me was a little bit unnerving. So I was like, okay, there's that. And then, two, I started to see restrictions on travel because of you not taking the vaccine. I know for one, me and my husband, we were planning to go to Vegas at one point, and it wasn't a problem getting to Vegas, but coming back to our home would be the problem. So either A, you had to show that you were vaccinated, B, you have to show a negative COVID test within 3 days of coming back, or within 3 days prior to you coming back, or three, you have to quarantine for like 14 days. And the last two options, nobody got time for that, okay? Everybody and their mama is getting a COVID test, and then trying to find a COVID test can be difficult. I know. So I did not want to spend the majority of our vacation trying to come up with, or trying to get a test. God forbid if it came back positive, we're stuck in a state for God knows how long. It was just a bit much. So I was like, okay, I made the conscious decision that I was going to take the vaccine based off that. Now, those reasons may seem minuscule to some, but these are my personal reasons. This episode is not, the purpose of this episode is not to convince you to do either, to take it or not to take it. It's just to show my experience with it, and then you can do with that information as you please. Like, I'm not a person to try to tell you what to do. I'm just sharing my experience, and you can form your own opinion off that. So, when I decided that I was going to take the vaccine, I called my parents. At first, both of my parents were going to take it, but then my mom kind of flaked out. She was like, I don't know. My dad said he was going to take it. So I was like, okay, I'll have someone that I can take it with. I talked to my husband about it as well, and he was not on board with it at all. He was, he's pretty much against it. Pretty much has been against it from the beginning. That's just something that he personally does not want to do, and I respect his decision. Of course, with him having that mindset, he was scared for me to take the vaccine. But I told him, hey, I'll be fine. We take vaccines all the time. We've been pumped with God knows what. We've had all kinds of vaccines since birth. I think adding one more won't really do any harm. That was just my opinion. I guess time will tell if that's the case. The only thing I could do is trust God at this point. Anyway, so me and my dad, we scheduled an appointment to get our vaccine done on the same day. We went to a community center that was administering the vaccine through Jewel Osco, which, if you're not from the Chicagoland area, you may not know what that is, but it's basically a grocery store equivalent to like a Kroger or a Publix. I think that's the name of grocery stores like out west or east. So it's basically a chain grocery store in the Chicagoland area. I'm not even sure if it's in the Midwest, if it's in all states in the Midwest, but anyway. Let's just say for now that it's a store in the Chicagoland area. So we went to this community center, and let me back up a little bit. We decided to get the Pfizer vaccine, okay? Because it seemed like the Pfizer vaccine was not creating a lot of issues or a lot of side effects with people. We saw Moderna was causing a lot of side effects, and we was like, I don't know about that. We're not going to do that. And then Johnson & Johnson, that option was kind of taken from us because at the time we were trying to get the vaccine. Johnson & Johnson was taken off of the market because I guess they were creating blood clots in people. So it was either Pfizer or Moderna. We decided on the Pfizer. And then with Johnson and Johnson, I'm thinking they can't even get baby powder right. How do I expect them to get a vaccine right? So I was like, no. So, yes, so we decided to get the Pfizer. And of course, with Pfizer, there's 2 shots. You get the first shot, and then you wait maybe 3 or 4 weeks and get the second shot. So my first shot was on April 8th. When I was walking up to the community center, of course, I felt like a pig about to be slain at the slaughter. Like I felt so defeated. But when I got into the community center, it was a really positive atmosphere, a very positive environment. So walked up, was able to get my first shot. Of course, I sat in the waiting room for 15, 20 minutes just to make sure I didn't have any immediate side effects that needed to be addressed, which I didn't, thank God. So immediately when I got the shot injected into me the first time, I immediately had a sore arm. The sore arm was there. And it wasn't like a bad sore arm. For me, I work out a lot, so I get sore arms all the time. So it just kind of felt like I worked out a little bit too hard that day. That's what it felt like. So it wasn't bad for me. So got the shot, sat in the waiting area for 15, 20 minutes, and then I went home. Now, the first day was good. The second day, I started to have a little bit of chills. The sore arm was still there though. It was still there. The next day I had chills. I took some Tylenol and that helped. The chills went away pretty quickly. The sore arm lasted for maybe like another day or two. So maybe in total about 3 to 4 days, my sore arm lasted and then it was gone. I was back to normal. So I was happy. So the first shot was a success. I didn't have no headaches or anything like that. It was good. So second shot, I waited 3 weeks and got the second shot. The second shot, I decided to get in my same arm, and I did my left arm because I figured my left arm isn't my dominant arm. I need my right arm to drive and write and do a whole lot of stuff. So I decided to get both doses in my left arm. Second dose, um, the second dose I was pretty scared of because everybody was saying that the second dose was worse than the first. So prepare yourself. So I was like, okay, I don't know how my body is going to react to this. So received the second dose. My arm was not immediately sore on that injection, which I was happy about. I'm like, okay, this is cool. Waited in the waiting area for another 15, 20 minutes like I did for the first dose. And I was fine. No immediate reactions that needed to be addressed. So I went home. While I was driving home, I felt kind of groggy in the head. Like I felt like I was present, but not really present, if that makes sense. Like you feel like you're there, but not really there. That lasted until I got home and I took some Tylenol. I did start to experience some chills on that same day. So I took the Tylenol for my grogginess and my chills, and that went away pretty quickly. The next day, I was back to normal. So the vaccine overall wasn't bad for me. The experience, my side effects were pretty mild. At most, I had chills and the grogginess in the head, but I didn't have any headaches. I didn't feel like I couldn't work. I still worked, and I worked from home. And of course, I work in my office, so my job is a desk job for the most part. So I was still able to work from home, do my regular daily activities. I worked out after each dose. I worked out like as usual, like nothing had happened. So my experience was really good. My dad, he had similar symptoms that I did, but I think his symptoms were a little bit more intense than mine were. Not very intense, but just a tad bit more intense than mine. But he still was able to recover. And here we are, almost a month after having the vaccine, and so far so good, thank God. Cause child, I was praying the entire way, okay? Especially for that second dose. I was praying, Lord, please help the symptoms not to be as severe. And thank God they weren't. Thank God he answered prayer and they weren't as severe. But for others who had those severe reactions, of course, my thoughts and my prayers are with them, because I know, you try to do something for yourself because you think it's the best decision for yourself, and to have those reactions, I know it's frustrating. But yeah, that was my experience. My experience was pretty mild. As I was saying earlier, this episode isn't geared towards coercing you to take the vaccine or to not to take the vaccine. It's just to give you information as far as my experience is concerned. And my experience was pretty good with the Pfizer. Now, it would be interesting to see other people's experience with Moderna and with Johnson and Johnson. I know one person who took Johnson and Johnson when it was on the market, and their experience was excellent. Actually, they had no side effects, so that was good. I'm not too sure about Moderna. I don't think I know anyone who took Moderna, but if anyone took Moderna who's listening today, definitely share your comments. What was your experience? Anyone who's taken the vaccine, whether it's Johnson and Johnson, Pfizer, or Moderna, what were your experience with taking the vaccine? Let me know in the comments below. You can also send me an email at mindofmillennials@gmail.com. And your experience, if you would like, may be read by me on the next episode. So keep that in mind. Also, make sure to like our Facebook page, The Millennial Mind, and our Instagram page, _Millennial Mind. Of course, I always have a quote for you guys. And before we get into that quote, I know next week we're going to be in June. Guys, I'm going to be honest. I am losing motivation, or not motivation, but inspiration to come up with topics to share with you guys. It's been quite difficult for me. So next week, there may be an episode, there may not. It just depends on what's going on. So if you guys have anything that you would like for me to discuss, or any questions that you have for me, definitely let me know via email at mindofmillennials@gmail.com. And of course, I have a quote for you guys. And this quote actually came from one of my cousins. I was talking to him today, and he actually said this to me, and I thought it was really profound. He basically said, if you have to look back on a decision that you made the wrong decision. Let me say it again. If you have to look back on a decision that you made the wrong decision. Whew, talk about a lot of meat in that quote, okay? Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you learned something. And until next week, I will talk to you guys soon.